armed with our motto, let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure. Here we are with a remote.
Hello students, today we are going to study lesson number 9 of standard 9th trade. Trade is a basic economic concept involving the buying and selling of goods and services with compensation paid by a buyer to a seller or the exchange of goods or services between parties. Trade can take place within an economy between producers and consumers. Student, we all have various needs in our day-to-day life. We buy various things to satisfy these wants. When we buy them, we create a demand for them. To fulfill the demand for these products, the production of these goods is carried out, that is, by the producer. The producer supplies these goods. In other words, he sells them to the wholesale trader. Here, buying and selling of goods is done to fulfill each other's need. Now, those who purchase are the consumers of the goods. For example, if we want any good, we go to the shop and we purchase the good. So we are the consumer of the good. The producer, he produces the goods in wholesale, in large quantity, and the seller sells the good. So this activity which goes on, that is the activity of buying and selling goods, is called trade. Trade is an important economic activity. The economic life of people is interdependent. That is, we human beings, we depend on one another to satisfy our requirements. Same way, no region or no country is self-sufficient. Trade between two regions is necessary to fulfill the needs of the people. As each region has different geographical condition, each region produces specific commodities. Now, if there is a paucity of the commodity, then there is a demand for that commodity. The place where it is abundant provides the supply of the commodity. Paucity, that means if the commodity is less or few. Now, thus the supply is done from regions producing excess commodities. That is, the supply is done from the region which produce large number of commodities or more commodities to region facing deficit according to the demand. Deficit, that is shortage of the commodity according to the demand. For example, we can take like apples which are produced in Jammu and Kashmir. They are sent to other states of India having a demand for it. Trade is an age-old concept. In ancient and medieval period, trade was done through the barter system. Now, what is a barter system? A barter system is an old method of exchange. That is, people exchange services and goods for other services and goods in return. For example, grains were exchanged in lieu of work done, or oil, salt, honey, and milk were exchanged for grains. There was no currency used in this trade. Even today, we see traders who exchange utensils in lieu of old clothes. But this creates problem of estimating a proper price, a correct price of the commodities. Earlier too, such problems were encountered. So as a result, the use of currency started. Now today, in this modern age, trade is carried with the help of currency only. But barter system still prevalent to a small extent in remote areas amongst the tribal people. Let us study with visible trade and invisible trade. What is visible trade? In the figure we can see there is buying and selling of goods. So this buying and selling of goods, it is called as visible trade. In the second image, that is invisible trade. Here we cannot see buying and selling of goods, but here we can see exchange of service. So here, where there is exchange of services, it is called invisible trade. Trade is classified according to the quantity of goods. Now, depending on the quantity of goods, there are two types of trade. First, wholesale trade and retail trade. We will study first with the wholesale trade. Now, here traders buy commodities on a large scale, directly bought from the producers. The commodities are also sold on a large scale to retail traders. Now, this is called as wholesale trading. Wholesale traders buy goods on a large scale from industrialists, farmers, etc. For example, the orchard owner of mangoes or oranges sell their entire production to the wholesale traders. According to the quantity of goods, the second type of trade is retail trade. Now, when the traders buy goods from wholesale traders and sell it directly to consumers, then it is known as retail trading. The quantity of goods sold over here is less in this case. For example, the shopkeepers selling goods, vegetable vendors in markets, etc. Types of trade on the basis of extent of trade region. Here, the buying and selling of goods happen at various levels. On that basis, trade can be divided into local, regional, national, and international trade. We will first study with domestic trade, or that is called as internal trade. Now, this trade takes place between different regions but within the same country. The size of the country, diversity, distribution, and availability of natural resources affect the internal trade within the country. The size of population, transport and communication services, the living standard of the people, marketing system lead to large-scale internal trade. In India, factors like diversity in geographical condition and high population also affect the domestic trade. A country's development is dependent on the extent of the domestic trade. If there is a good economic growth, then trade will also be more. Thus, there is a positive relation between economic growth and trade. The second type of trade based on the extent of trade region, that is international trade, or we can say external trade. Here, international trade means the exchange of goods and services of one country with other country. Now, some countries produce specific products in excess, that is, in large quantity. For example, we can take crude oil that is produced in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, wheat production that is done in large quantity in USA, Canada, etc. Now, these products are sent to countries having shortage of the product, where these products will be having a lot of demand. So this leads to the beginning of the international trading. So here the definition for international trading is, that is, international trade means the exchange of goods and services of one country with other countries. Further, we will study with bilateral trade. Bilateral trade, that is, when international trade takes place between two countries, it is bilateral trading. That means when two countries trade with one another, it is called as bilateral trading. Second one, multilateral trading. When trade takes place between more than two countries, it is called multilateral trading. That means when the import and export of goods or trading of goods is carried out between more than two countries is called as multilateral trade. Thank you.